Somebody's lying. Somebody hurt her. Somebody's hurting all of us.
It was the night of November 28, 1981. Off the coast of Catalina Island, a luxurious yacht named the Splendor rocked gently in the cold Pacific waters. Aboard were 4 people: actress Natalie Wood, her husband Robert Wagner, actor Christopher Walken, and the yacht's captain Dennis Davern. By morning, one of them would be dead. Natalie's body was found floating face down in the ocean, still wearing her red jacket and thin nightgown. The yacht's small rubber dinghy, the Valiant, was found drifting near shore. The official report called it a tragic accidental drowning. But the bruises on Natalie's arms and face, the scratches on her neck, and her lifelong fear of water made many wonder if something far darker had happened that night. Natalie Wood and Robert Wagner were Hollywood's golden couple. They first married in 1957. She was 19, he was 27, and for a time, they embodied the dream of classic Hollywood romance. She was the radiant star of Rebel Without a Cause and West Side Story, and he was the charming leading man adored for his roles in It Takes a Thief and Heart to Heart. But behind the glamorous facade, their love story was troubled. Their first marriage ended in divorce in 1962, after years of tension, jealousy, and whispered rumors of Wagner's controlling nature. Yet fate reunited them a decade later, and in 1972, they remarried, promising that love and time had healed the wounds of youth. Outwardly, their second marriage seemed peaceful. They had a daughter, Courtney, and blended their family with Natalie's daughter, Natasha, from a previous marriage. But beneath that picture-perfect surface, old insecurities had quietly returned. That Thanksgiving weekend in 1981, Natalie invited a few friends for a short escape aboard the Splendor. Her co-star from her upcoming film Brainstorm, Christopher Walken, joined them, something that would later become a source of enormous tension. The group spent the day drinking, laughing, and talking. But as the sun sank and the drinks kept coming, the mood on the yacht began to shift. Captain Dennis Davern later recalled that the air felt thick with jealousy. According to his later testimony, Wagner became irritated as Natalie and Walken grew friendly, talking closely, laughing, and sharing quiet moments. Wagner's jealousy simmered, fueled by alcohol and insecurity. Walken, uncomfortable with the tension, tried to diffuse it, but by nightfall, an argument erupted. Wine spilled, voices were raised, and something inside Wagner snapped. What happened next has been debated for over 40 years. Captain Davern said he heard Wagner shout at Natalie, "Get off my damn boat!" followed by the sound of shattering glass. Moments later, silence. When Davern went to check, Natalie was gone. He said he begged Wagner to turn on the searchlights or call for help, but Wagner refused, saying coldly, "Leave her there. She'll come back when she's ready." But she never did. At around 3:30 a.m., 4 hours after Natalie was last seen, the Coast Guard was finally contacted. By dawn, her body was discovered floating a mile away from the yacht. The dinghy was nearby, the key still in the ignition, the oars tied down as if it had never been used. The autopsy revealed a blood alcohol level of 0.14%, enough to cause severe disorientation. She also had traces of motion sickness medication and painkillers in her system, a dangerous mix that could have left her confused and unsteady. But the most disturbing findings were the bruises, fresh marks on her arms, wrists, and face, injuries that medical examiners concluded happened before she entered the water. Wagner's explanation never fully made sense. He claimed Natalie must have gone outside to secure the dinghy, slipped, and fallen into the ocean. But friends and family knew her crippling fear of water. She couldn't swim and wouldn't even get near dark water at night. Adding to the mystery, witnesses from a nearby yacht, the Capricorn, reported hearing a woman's desperate screams echoing across the water around 11 p.m. "Help me! Somebody help me!" They recalled her shouting again and again. Then came a man's calm, deep voice replying, "Okay, honey. We'll get you." The screams continued for 15 minutes before fading into silence. When one of the witnesses, Marilyn Wayne, came forward years later, she claimed she was threatened. A note left in her mailbox read, "If you value your life, keep quiet about what you know." For decades, the case was considered closed. The original coroner ruled the death an accidental drowning, and Wagner, though shaken, continued his career in television. But suspicions never went away. In 2011, Dennis Davern changed his story publicly on national television. He admitted he had lied to police in 1981 because he was afraid of Wagner's power and influence. "Wagner didn't just stop the search," he said. "He wanted it stopped." His confession reignited the investigation. In 2012, the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office amended Natalie Wood's death certificate, changing the cause from accidental drowning to drowning and other undetermined factors. Police named Robert Wagner a person of interest in 2018, citing inconsistencies in his statements and physical evidence suggesting a struggle. "He was the last person with her before she disappeared," said Lieutenant John Corina. Still, there was no direct proof of foul play. Wagner refused to meet with detectives, insisting through his lawyer that the night was nothing more than a tragic accident. Natalie's younger sister, Lana Wood, never accepted Wagner's innocence. For decades, she has spoken publicly about her belief that Robert was responsible. "My sister would never have gone near that dinghy," she said. She was terrified of water. Something happened that night, and he knows exactly what it was. Lana claimed Captain Davern privately confessed to her that Wagner and Natalie had a violent argument, that there was shouting, a loud bang, and then Wagner's chilling command, "Don't turn on the lights. Don't call anyone." To Lana, the evidence pointed to one thing, a jealous outburst that ended in tragedy. But Natalie's daughter, Natasha Gregson Wagner, took a very different view. In her memoir, More Than Love, she defended her stepfather. "He loved my mother deeply. Whatever happened that night, it wasn't murder. It was heartbreak." To Natasha, Wagner's lifelong guilt was not the mark of a killer, but of a man who never forgave himself for losing the woman he loved. As the years passed, Wagner withdrew from public life. The once smooth leading man became quiet, reflective, and haunted. He avoided interviews, avoided the ocean, and spent his last years in near seclusion. In rare interviews, he spoke softly, his voice trembling with age. "When Natalie died," he said, "I thought my life ended too," but his words only deepened the divide. Was it the sorrow of a grieving husband, or the guilt of a man hiding something terrible? In his autobiography, Pieces of My Heart, Wagner wrote, "Not a day goes by that I don't think of Natalie. Losing her was the darkest moment of my life." Yet those words did little to quiet the public suspicion. For many, the inconsistencies, the missing hours, the bruises, the silence spoke louder than any denial could. In his final years, Wagner began to open up more, as if the burden of the past had become too heavy to bear. He spoke not of guilt, but of regret. "People call me a monster, a liar, a coward," he said in one of his last interviews. "But the truth is simpler. I was a man in love who made mistakes, and I've paid for them every single day since." It wasn't a confession, but it was as close as the world would ever get. When Wagner passed away, Hollywood mourned him with mixed emotions. Some remembered his talent and charm. Others could never forget the shadow that followed him. But one truth remained undeniable. The night Natalie Wood died changed Hollywood forever. Decades later, the story still refuses to rest. Every few years, new witnesses, new theories, and new questions surface. Was Natalie trying to escape an argument? Did she fall by accident, or was she pushed? Her death disguised by power and silence. The truth remains lost somewhere in the cold Pacific. Beneath the same waves that claimed her life, Natalie Wood's story endures not just because of mystery, but because of its humanity, love, jealousy, fear, and regret. She was a woman who had everything the world could offer, yet met a fate darker than any role she ever played. Perhaps one day the truth will surface. But for now, the legend of Natalie Wood and Robert Wagner stands as one of Hollywood's most haunting love stories, a reminder that behind every glittering light, there can be a shadow no fame can hide.